first step towards increasing the level of happiness in your life. So let's talk about why we're doing this podcast. This really is a discussion of highly practical philosophy. Philosophy, as we normally think of it, is impractical. It's something that's put up on a pedestal. It's something that was written a long time ago in fancy language. It's very abstract, very obtuse, and perhaps some of it feels like truisms to us and some of it feels unapproachable. But really, for anyone, if you live long enough, you become a philosopher because you start trying to solve the big problems in your life. And the big problems are the old ones. They're the ones that we've been trying to solve since the beginning. How do I stay happy? How do I become healthy? How do I become wealthy? How do I raise the family that I want? So what this podcast is about is the practical philosophy that we have confirmed for ourselves and that has worked for us. What one monkey can do, another can. If this person learned something interesting that made them happier, healthier, or wealthier, then I can do it too. That's what we focus on here. It's the practical philosophy of health, wealth, and happiness.
It seems to me if you were going to sum it up in one word, it would just be health. Financial health, mental health, physical health.
Health is just a state of being well. So let us get to the state of health in our finances so we're not fearful day to day. And that's where we started. And we spent a lot of time on that. Let's get to the place in physical health where we're not suffering from afflictions, disease, and addictions. And let's get to the state of mental health where we're relatively at peace and quite content with ourselves. Even though you can certainly achieve happiness and mental health without financial health, the truth is in modern society, most of us understand that financial wealth can give us freedom. It can give us time. It can give us peace. You're not going to buy your way to happiness, but you will buy your way out of common causes of unhappiness. In olden times, one of the routes to finding peace was you would become a monk. You would renounce things. You would renounce sex. You would renounce money. You would renounce shelter. You would renounce attachments. And you would go off in the woods. And after 30 years, when you'd finally gotten over the fact that you weren't going to have these things, then you might find some peace. And the truth is, most of them probably never got over it. There are lots of monks out there, not a lot of enlightened people. I think it was Osho. He said, every time I meet a prostitute, she wants to talk about God. And every time I meet a priest, he wants to talk about sex. Whatever it is that you deny yourself will become your new prison. If you have a desire for material comfort, it's actually going to be easier and faster to fulfill it in modern society if you know what you're doing and are capable than it will be for you to renounce it. It'll take a lifetime to renounce it, and maybe then it won't work. But you can make some money and be materially successful in less than a lifetime. You can get there without it and probably have a more lasting form without it, but that's playing on hard mode. Physical health, of course, is the foundation of everything. If you don't have your physical health, you have nothing. Another great Confucius saying that I liked was that a sick man only wants one thing. A healthy man wants 10,000 things. When you're sick, when you're down, all your other desires run away. Without the ability to get up and function, you can't turn into this desiring machine that you are. Physical health is actually the most important, but I speak the least on that topic because I have the least specific and unique knowledge. I'm not self-actualized in that regard. I'm in okay health, okay shape, and I have an okay diet. I understand a lot of the theory of it, but I would feel fraudulent giving you that theory unless I were a paragon of excellence in that domain. Whereas I think in wealth, I'm much more self-actualized. And on the peace side, I've gone from being a mostly unhappy person to being a very happy person. And that I think was deliberate. It was practiced. It was effort-based. It was through realizations, and I made progress. So I have a chance to tell you what worked for me. Happiness is an extremely loaded term. It means completely different things to different people. And it's difficult to talk about because everybody has strong preconceived notions of what happiness is and how they would get to it. I'm going to conflate happiness and pleasure and peace and joy and bliss. I'm going to mix them up. I'm not doing so deliberately, but at the same time, this is not math. We cannot clearly bound these words. They mean different things in different contexts to different people. So let's just try and get into the spirit of what I'm saying rather than get hung up on specific words and details. I think that's extremely important. When some people are talking about happiness, they're really talking about pleasure thrills, like I had a really good meal, therefore I'm happy. Other people are talking about a general state of contentment and well-being. Other people are referring to enlightenment like a Buddha would have reached. Many people will take the point of view that there's no such thing as happiness, or happiness is counterproductive, or misery comes from pursuing happiness. And there's a lot of truth to this, and we'll get into it. But at the same time, sometimes I'll say the way to be happy is X. And people will say, well, didn't you just say that happiness is a cause of misery? This is not mathematics. You cannot link algorithms together. This is more like poetry. If you read 50 different poems from a poet, and then you try to map them out analytically and refer words from one poem to another and see if that made sense, you miss the point. Don't fixate on the words. Don't even fixate on the sentences. Ponder the overall thought process and message. The first step towards increasing the level of happiness in your life is realizing that you can. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. For the vast majority of people, some amount of their happiness, in fact, probably a lot more than they think, is in their control. So the first step is not easy, and you might be stuck on this for a long time, and many people are, where they deep down believe that happiness cannot be developed or changed, and so they devalue it. They say, well, I don't want to be happy. Genetics may account for half or more than half of things like strength, athletic performance, and intelligence. But your genetic set point is only about half it. And happiness or general contentment is much more malleable than the other things. It's very hard for me to change my athletic performance purely through working out. I'm going to be genetically much more limited. But I think in terms of my mood and